Welcome to Golden Bachelor. If you love celebrity news and real entertainment updates, you're in the right place. It all began on a quiet morning when the world was still asleep, but one former Bachelorette star found herself wide awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how life had suddenly become so complicated. She had always been the woman who walked into a room with effortless charm, someone who could make strangers laugh, melt hearts, and turn a simple moment into a memory. But now she was facing something far heavier than the roses, dates, and dramatic limo entrances that once filled her world. She had shared her journey openly with her fans for years, letting them witness her biggest triumphs, her deepest heartbreaks, and everything in between. But this time, her update felt different. It was personal, delicate, and incredibly emotional. She admitted she'd received concerning news from her doctor, and while she didn't know exactly what it meant yet, she felt uneasy, like a storm might be forming on the horizon. Her fans immediately flooded her with messages of love, hope, and encouragement, because even through a screen, people could feel the weight of her worry. She tried to stay calm, cracking jokes in the way that only she could. "Look," she said with a shaky laugh, "if I can survive a national TV breakup, I can survive anything." Humor had always been her shield, and she wielded it gracefully even now. But behind closed doors, she had her moments, sitting alone on her couch, pulling a blanket up to her chin, thinking about all the dreams she still had, the trips she wanted to take, the love she wanted to nurture, the life she still planned to build. She admitted she was scared, but she also said she wasn't going to let fear write her story. One of the most touching details she shared was about the person who had recently entered her life, a soft-spoken, warm-hearted guy who appeared when she least expected it. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't dramatic, and he wasn't trying to be a hero, but he had a way of making her feel grounded. He held her hand during her appointments, brought her soup when she was too stressed to eat, and made her laugh even on the hardest days. She joked, "If he sticks around after seeing me ugly cry 3 times in 1 week, he deserves an award." He told her he didn't need an award, just her. The two of them began spending more time together than either of them expected. They'd cook dinner, playfully argue about which movie to watch, and get into silly debates about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. He said yes, she said absolutely not. They even had a running bet that whoever lost their next argument had to buy coffee for a month. So far, the score was even. Their chemistry wasn't the dramatic fireworks and roses type. It was slow, warm, and real. And maybe that's why her fans started rooting extra hard, not just for her health, but for her heart. They wanted to see her win in every way possible. One night, she opened up to him more deeply than she expected. She told him about her fears, the unknowns, and how overwhelming everything felt. She admitted she worried about the worst possible outcome. She said she felt like her life was a book with a chapter that hadn't been written yet, and she didn't know whether that chapter would be filled with joy, challenges, or both. Instead of giving her a cliché answer, he took a breath, looked into her eyes, and said, "Whatever comes next, you won't face it alone." Her heart practically melted right there, and for the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of calm. Not because everything was magically fixed, but because she didn't feel alone anymore. Her next update to fans was filled with gratitude. She told them she was taking things one day at a time. She didn't sugarcoat anything. She shared that she had more tests coming up and more questions than answers, but she made it clear that she was choosing hope over fear. She'd fought through challenges before, and she wasn't about to stop now. In classic her style, she made it lighthearted. "If stress burned calories, I'd be an Olympic athlete by now." Fans loved her humor because it reminded them she was still the same woman who once danced barefoot backstage, who laughed too hard on her own jokes, and who could turn chaos into comedy.
But between the jokes were real, raw moments. Moments that reminded everyone watching how deeply human she was. She talked about leaning on her family, cherishing time with her friends, and learning how to slow down in a world that moved too fast. She started focusing on joy wherever she could find it. Painting, baking, long walks, silly late-night conversations, and rediscovering the little pleasures of everyday life. Her new love interest was right there through it all, making funny faces during her video calls, surprising her with her favorite snacks, and refusing to let her forget her own strength. He often told her, "You're tougher than you think," and deep down, she knew he was right. In the weeks that followed, she became a symbol of resilience. She wasn't pretending to be fearless. She was choosing to face fear with honesty, humor, and heart. Her followers admired her even more for that. They didn't just see a former TV star. They saw a real woman navigating real challenges with incredible grace. As she waited for her next appointment, she took a moment to reflect on everything she'd been feeling. She talked about learning how fragile life can be, but also how beautiful it becomes when you hold on to the people who lift you up. She spoke about love, vulnerability, strength, and the unexpected twists that life throws at us. And at the end of her long, emotional update, she left her fans with one message. No matter what you're going through, remember you're stronger than you know. And you deserve someone who holds your hand through the hard parts and laughs with you through the good ones. Her story wasn't over, not even close. In fact, this felt like the beginning of a brand new chapter, one filled with courage, romance, laughter, and a community of people cheering her on. And as she prepared for the next steps in her journey, she did what she's always done best. She lifted her chin, smiled softly, and kept moving forward, one hopeful heartbeat at a time. Thanks for watching Golden Bachelor. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next big story.